So I started this project with a 10 by 20 inch canvas that I had painted a very pale green, and I laid out all these, I think they're called vase filler gems, and I actually did them in 2 layers, just right down on the canvas. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to put around it. I used a brooch for the angel at the top, and I used a piece of a bracelet for the trunk of the tree. So what I ended up deciding on for the surrounding area was something called tube confetti. Now I'm ready to do the resin, and I don't know if you can see, but I do have the canvas up on a couple little plastic cups. The reason it's important to be up on the cups and not flat on the paper is the resin is going to drip down around the sides, and you'll have a mess after it's dried. It will actually stick to the paper and you'll have to rip it off of there. So for resin, I always use gloves, and I always use a respirator. It's in your best interest to use a respirator and do it in a well-ventilated area. This is Dr. Crafty resin. It's 1-to-1 ratio like most of the resins. And I use 1 part of the resin to 1 part hardener, equal amounts. You stir it, scraping the bottom and the sides. The slower you stir it, the less bubbles you'll get. Another trick for less bubbles is to warm the resin up a little bit. I guess if you put it over by in a windowsill, it would help, but that also speeds up the curing time. You'll notice when you first pour it in, it is very clear, and then like this, and then when you start mixing it, it becomes cloudy. You have to mix it for about 2 minutes, like I said, scraping the sides and the bottom, and as you can see here, it's starting to get cloudy, and then you continue to mix it, and it'll clear up when it's done. So after about 2 minutes, you'll see it clear up. And now I'm pouring the resin on. I'm pouring it over the glass first. And as I watch this back, I think, oh, I probably put a little bit more than I needed on the glass. Next, I lift it up to put a 5th cup under there. As you see, I already had 4, and now I'm putting a 5th one so that the resin doesn't pool in the center. That'll push the center up a little bit, and it'll keep the resin from pooling in the center. It's not unusual after you shift the board around or after you pour the resin that you might have to readjust the glass. Sometimes they fall off, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. And it's best if you could do it with a little popsicle stick, or you can use a gloved hand, I think is what I end up doing. Next, I pour the rest of the resin around the perimeter and smooth it out first with the spoon, and then I start using my hand. It will drip some down the side, so you have to kind of smooth that up and catch the drips. Next, I'm ready to put the tube confetti on. This tube confetti I found at a dollar store by me. It was called the Dollar Depot, but I've also seen it at the Dollar Tree in packages where they have 3 different colors, and you can also order it online from the Dollar Tree, but you have to order large quantities. So this I found in a big package of just the white, and it's real pretty. Like I said, it's called tube confetti. I think the thicker you put it on, the prettier it looks. Hey everyone. No, I'm not sitting on the cat. He thinks this is his chair. Silly goose. Anyway, I just got finished making this one, and this one was with the resin, as you saw. And I thought, whoa, well, a lot of people don't want to work with resin. So I thought, let's try making one with Mod Podge and see how that works. I'm kind of torn between the little blue and purple ones and then the little green ones. What do you guys think? I'm just dumping the Mod Podge on, and I'm going to brush it on. And I know they say that with the Mod Podge it shows brush strokes, but we're going to have it covered with something so you really won't see them. And I'm going to put it on kind of thick because it's going to need to stay wet for a little while. And there's no need for it to go down the sides. Okay, so we're going to stick this here like that. And then I am going to, so I think I'm going to use that for the base. Hopefully that holds on. And this for the star. Does that look like it's in the middle? And then I'm just going to start putting the little beads on. So these little glass half marbles, or whatever you want to call them, come in different sizes. They come in small, medium, and large. And I thought maybe the medium one would be good for this. And we'll make a blue tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through this part. I lay down the first layer, and really there's no reason to put the purple one in the center because I'm going to put a second layer and you won't see it. But if it's along the edge, you would see it. And here I am putting the second layer on next. And sometimes it's difficult to balance them, so you just have to be kind of patient with it. A 1/4 cup of Mod Podge with a 1/4 cup of water. And then I'm just going to take it and spread it all over everything. There you go. And then you're going to take your brush again, and you're just going to kind of move it around. I'm always forgetting to put the cups down before I start. If you can remember, it's a good idea to put them down before you start the project. That way you don't have any chance of the glass moving around. Continue spreading the Mod Podge around. I know it seems like we put a lot over the top of them, but you really have to make sure that it holds those together so they don't fall off of the canvas. So it's really important that you put a considerable amount over the glass. So continue spreading it around and let the excess drip off the one side. You're going to have to probably paint around the edges and catch the drips for a little while. But once you feel like you've got most of it spread out, go ahead and put the confetti on, the tube confetti. Or you could put something else on it too. You could put glitter, and it doesn't necessarily have to be white. There's, you know, all different colors of the tube confetti or glitter. And when you think you have enough, let it dry overnight for 24 hours on a flat surface. I didn't like the shape of my Christmas tree, so I started rearranging some of the glass at the bottom there. And then I went ahead and put some more Mod Podge over the top of it. Also, just so you know, I did try the full strength Mod Podge over the gems, and it did not work. If you look at this clip from the beginning of the video, to the right of the canvas, the bottom right of the canvas, you'll see 3 gems with a big blob of Mod Podge on it. And I let it dry, and even after a week, you could still see the white. It just did not look right. It didn't work. So I think they both turned out real cute. This is solid, as well as this being solid. So I didn't really brush the sprinkles at all, but the glass is really on there solid. And I don't know if there's really that much of a difference between the shine. Maybe the resin is a little bit shinier, but if you really don't want to mess around with resin, I would say I would do it like this. It turned out real pretty. I'll have to do some experiments with glass with my sea glass, and I'll also try it with the broken glass and the Mod Podge and see how that works versus the resin. But this is really, I mean, the glass is staying on. I've not had any problems with any of them falling off. There's a lot of little sprinkles that have fallen off. I think more so than with this. But maybe if you just put the thicker Mod Podge around the edges, maybe the sprinkles wouldn't fall off as much. But the glass is holding tight. Okay, see you next time. Hope you enjoyed the video.